Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, I just picked up this box full of a bunch of Sega stuff. These were all advertised as non-working, so I ended up getting this box for about 40 bucks. Alright, so I just want to show you very quickly what we have in here. We've got a Model 1 Sega Saturn, Sega Nomad. This is a portable Sega Genesis. Doesn't have the battery pack though, but then again, non-working, so you know, whatever. A Game Gear. Doesn't have these battery port covered things, but again, non-working. Controller. I don't really know how a controller can be non-working, but apparently it's possible. Model 1 Sega Genesis. Doesn't have that cover either. Let's see here. Then a Sega CD Model 2 and another Sega CD Model 2. And that's all that's in this box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stuff out and kind of test it out and see what I can do with it. My goal is to try and get, hopefully get some of these, or at least one of these working to kind of justify the purchase. And then, you know, I'll have spare parts in the future, or, you know, maybe I'll come up across something where I can trade it, and maybe someone else will know what to do with it. But 40 bucks, you know, I figured if I don't pick it up, these are just going to end up in a dumpster or something, so it's kind of shitty to, you know, have Sega stuff end up in a dumpster, so, you know, I thought I'll go ahead and I'll take a look at this stuff and see what I come up with. Alright, so what I've got here is a Sega Nomad I already have. This one does have a battery pack, and this one I know for damn sure works. And I'll take a copy of Sonic 2, and of course the goal here is to make sure that this power supply I have plugged in works, and I'm sure it does, but just, you know, for the video's sake. Now, it's not actually running off the battery pack. That should be noted. The goal here is to get this one to work as well. But like I said, this one has no battery pack, and supposedly it doesn't work. But let's test all our variables. So I turn this one on, and I see the screen, and yep, there you go. We see this Nomad that I've had for years definitely does work. Alright, so now the goal is to hopefully get this one to do the same thing. So what we're going to do, of course, take out the cartridge, take out the power supply, move that aside, go here, and well, let's see if it even powers up. Okay, it powers up, and the screen has life. That's a good sign. So we'll take the cartridge and see what we get. And I see text, but it's very faded. Although, actually, if I just tweak the contrast, this thing works perfectly. Well, that's an awesome, pleasant surprise. The sound is good, the screen is good, the here, buttons, start button definitely works, D-pad works. Maybe no? Okay. Hang on. It's hard to play this one-handed. Yeah, jumping works. Well, this game wouldn't support the extra buttons, but I'm assuming those work too. Mode doesn't do anything, but I don't think that would do anything in this game. Pause definitely works. This Nomad totally works, so that's that's an awesome surprise. Nomads alone are, you know, worth a lot of money, even without the battery pack, so that alone has already justified the purchase of this box. So, wow. That does make you kind of wonder about the rest of these. But, okay, we will move on here. Okay, like before, this is a Game Gear I already have, and I know this one is working. Again, it's plugged in. It uses the exact same power supply as the Nomad and the Model 2 Sega Genesis and the Sega CDX and so on. So turn it on. We'll see the screen works fine. And I actually have the EverDrive for the Game Gear in there. Yeah, so yeah, this is my already working Game Gear. So the idea is to get get this one to do the same thing. God, wouldn't it be great if that happened? Let's see here. Sorry, drop the cable. And we will plug it in right there. And, well, before I put the cartridge in, let's see if it powers up. Okay, it does power up. That's definitely a good sign. Go ahead and put the cartridge in there. Make sure your cartridges are clean, obviously, because you don't want to assume the system is dead just because the cartridge was dirty. Okay, I turned that on, and I got nothing. Well, yeah. Oh, wait. Now I see something. Wow, that screen is really, really dark. Yeah, it only gets worse when I do that. It actually, you know what, I'm looking through the camera. It looks better on the camera than it does here. Although if I tilt it way down, then it works okay. But I don't hear anything. You know what, I bet that this thing works, but I bet the problem is that it needs new capacitors for its screen and for its sound. That's too bad. But, I mean, that was kind of expected. But, like I said, even if the rest of these don't work out, that Nomad working alone is just amazing. So, yeah, okay, so we're one for two here. Now, I would advise, in general, open these things up, clean them out. I'll probably do that. I'm not going to do that with handhelds, because handhelds are a little bit more complicated, and I don't really trust myself with that. But with the rest of these, especially with Sega-based machines that use standard screwdrivers, it's not that big of a deal to open it. I think we'll just start with the Genesis, because it's kind of hard to break a Genesis. So we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got, this is a Genesis I already have. I know for damn sure this one works. And this is the one that doesn't work. This is the controller that also doesn't work. Now, I took this controller apart because I could tell why it wasn't working instantly. The buttons were really sticky. I knew there was no even point in trying it. So I opened it up. It just has like 6 little screws on the back. I just opened it up, and when you take these little plastic buttons out, really, really easy. And then I just used like some adhesive remover and Windex and just cleaned them. And now they, press real easy. So I see no reason why this controller wouldn't work at this point. But we will find out on this Genesis that it definitely does work. And you can see there. We get the sound in a moment, I'm sure. Yeah. Speaking of the sound, if you have a Model 1, get your sound from the front port here because you'll get stereo sound as opposed to the back where you get mono. But yeah, okay, so this Genesis obviously works. The controller... Yeah, hang on. Yes, yeah. Okay, well, the start button works, the down button works. Alright. Alright. All the buttons work on the controller, so the controller has been saved. Now let's test this Genesis. Now, I already went ahead and I opened this. I tend to do that because it's much better to clean out these things before you even try to use them. Like I said, I would have done that with the handhelds, but yeah, I mean, I don't really trust myself with the handhelds just because they're so much more complicated inside. Alright, so we have that connected, and here we go. First time, powered up, and we get that screen, but do we get, okay, no sound. Oh, I didn't connect the sound. Where the hell's the sound cable? Let's see here. My mistake. All the way in. This thing works like a champ. Alright, press start again. I don't know. Okay. Alright, well, yeah. Okay, well, this Genesis works. See, a Genesis really doesn't... it's kind of hard to break a Genesis. But you know, all I did is I opened this thing up with a screwdriver, standard screwdriver, and then I just blew like compressed air in there. And you'd be surprised how much that stuff will do to save a system. Although I never even tried to turn this thing on when it, you know, before I cleaned it, so maybe it didn't work. I don't know. But sure as hell works now. So let's, you know, that's 2 for 3. Not bad at all. But yeah, let's try the Sega CDs now. I've attached the one of the Sega CD Model 2s to this Model 1 Genesis, and the one that supposedly didn't work, the controller that supposedly doesn't work. And I've got the other one sitting here. I already opened them up, and for that you just need like a screwdriver, like a standard one, or a littler one, which would be good for this controller, which I should have mentioned earlier. And then when you get inside, what you're going to want to do is just blow around compressed air and just get dust out of them. These were kind of funny though, because even if they don't work, they're not a total loss, because each one had something rattling around inside. I don't remember which one was which now, but I opened one of them up, and inside, much to my surprise, I found a nickel. It's in an American 5-cent piece. I have no idea how that got in there. If I had to guess, I'd say someone, you know, I don't know, shoved it in there or something. I really have no idea. Maybe they put it into the laser assembly. I have no idea, but there was a nickel in there. And that was funny. And then the other one, when I opened it up, it had a dime in it, which is an American 10-cent piece. Whoever owned these things, just, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, just stuffing money in them, but thanks. So even if these things don't work, I got 15 cents back, and I'll have spare cases or possibly spare laser assemblies if I ever need them. But, okay, so here we go. I'm going to test out this Sega CD. I put in Sonic CD, just, you know, kind of the definitive Sega CD game. And so we'll see. And it's lighting up. And we get the BIOS menu, which is really a good sign. It says press the start button. Also a very good sign. Let's see here. And we get that screen, which is the loading screen, so that's a really, really good sign. And so let's see, does it work? Maybe? Yes! It works. It works like a damn champ. Oh, that's awesome. Continue. Apparently, well, the Sega CD has built-in RAM, so apparently whoever owned this one, last time it was used, actually went to the trouble of playing Sonic CD, and they got far enough along to save it. I'm going to disconnect the Genesis here. Disconnect the Sega CD, I mean. And let me pop on the other one. Wow, it has been pleasantly surprising how much of this stuff has worked. I'm telling you, man, this is why I love Sega. Their stuff just doesn't seem to stop working. Now I connect this. All right, the Genesis. Well, that also confirms that the Genesis board there is still functional. The one that connects the Sega CD. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, now let's see. I got to put Sonic CD in there. Okay, so let's see what we got. Turn that one on. Lights up. Also get the BIOS menu. That's also a very good sign. Let's see here. Press start button. And do we get the loading screen? Maybe. Yes, we do. That kicks ass. Let's see here. Let's see. Please, do you load the game? Yes, you do. This one works like a champ as well. Apparently no one, there's no continue, so obviously whoever had that one never played Sonic CD. Wow. Well, okay, that's awesome. We are now, what are we? We're 4 for 5. Damn, that's impressive. So I think all we have left is the Sega Saturn. So let's see what we have there. Wow. This is awesome. I mean, I actually already had 2 of these, 2 Model 2 Sega CDs. I have other models of the Sega CD as well. I really was not expecting these to work. That kicks ass. But anyway, let's see what we can do with the Saturn. Alright guys, so I have some good news. Okay, so forgive me if I'm a little bit more tired than I was in the other part of the video. Okay, so the short of this is, this thing was not working. I opened it up, I cleaned it out with compressed air before I even tried it, And I put it all together. Power cable, which is kind of the Dreamcast uses, the Xbox uses, whatever, standard cable, and then an S-video cable. Use S-video if you can for the Saturn, because it deserves it. Better video quality. But anyway, I would turn it on, and the access light here would come on, and it would constantly be flashing red, just constantly. The green light would obviously be on, and everything seemed to be okay, except it wouldn't even attempt to spin the disc, which I was like, okay, well, that's obviously a problem. And for anybody who knows much about the Saturn, you'll know that the most common problem with Saturns comes from their laser assembly. They have a couple of issues. One of which is this part, the spindle part, over time when you put games down on it, it gets pressed down a little bit, and that can cause problems. The other issue is there's a little switch inside the Saturn about there, once you take the case off, that lets the system know that the disc tray is closed. Now, of course, if you close it, it knows, because it's pressing up against the little switch. But, of course, if you take the lid off, there's nothing to do that, so you have to do that with your thumb. So if you're screwing around with the thing and you're trying to get to work, that's the most efficient way to do it. So I did that little fix, although generally you can tell if that's going to work because the thing is sunk, so the game's like kind of, rub up against the system and you can kind of hear it. Mine wasn't doing that, so I didn't assume that was the problem. The laser was like not even trying to move. It wasn't doing anything. It was like as if it just wasn't even getting power, which probably had something to do with the nature of the problem. But anyway, so I took it apart, and like I said, I couldn't get it to work, and I gave up on it, and I made a video saying, oh, well, the Saturn doesn't work, what are you going to do? It's kind of a shame because it powers up, but whatever. And then a few hours went by, and it was just eating me up, that the fact that this thing wasn't working, because I knew I was pressing my luck by getting all that other stuff to work, but I was like, well, I really want the Saturn to work. I mean, I have 4 Saturns already, so it's not like I really need another one. Although this would be my second Model 2, or Model 1. I only have one of these. Well, now I have 2. But I was like, well, I really want this thing to work just because I like Saturns. So what I did was I opened it up. I had nothing to lose. I stripped it all down, took out the power supply, took out the laser assembly. I left in the controller boards, but I guess I could have taken those out. But that was working, so there was no reason to. I took out the motherboard, and I blew compressed air on all of it. I was just like, I got nothing to lose. There's no reason not to. So I put it all back together, and I tried it. Nothing happens. I'm like, well, that sucks. Like I said, I was pressing that little thing. It was not trying to spin. And this is the part that baffles me. All right, I swear this happened. All right, so I'm holding the little eject tray thing so that it knows that it's closed and it's still not doing anything. And while I'm turning it on, I've got it on, I'm doing that, I have to hold the controller, which you can see over there vaguely. So I have to control that so I can get past this stupid menu that is a problem with the Saturn. And my eye kind of must have left my thumb because I was trying to get the controller. And you have to understand I was very tired. And my finger must have slipped off a little, but while still holding it. And it bridged, I swear to God, what it must have done was bridge a connection from the power supply to that or something. Because I got a nasty electrical shock. That sucked. Do not get electrical shocks. Those suck. I'm okay, by the way, if anyone cares. But this, I swear after I did that, this is what happened. I turned it on, access light goes on, just like before. Get the menu just like before. And then, that was new. This is the newest part. It is spinning. You can hear it. You can see the access light running, and then you can see this system menu. I cannot, for the life of me, explain exactly how that worked. I think my finger acted as a conduit or something to jumpstart the laser assembly. Because I swear the only thing that was wrong with the laser assembly is that it wasn't getting power. And it's like as if my thumb connecting it brought it to life, and then it's like, oh wait, I do have actual connections. I'll just feed off that from now on. I have no idea how that actually works. But yeah, now this Saturn, fully functional. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is a champ. Sega machines, they just do not die easily. but they will try to kill you in the process, apparently. Alright, so here's a look at everything I got in this box. Alright, I'm just going to start here. My opinion why he thought this didn't work. The guy I bought this from, I mean, yeah, the buttons were sticky, but really, this was so easily fixed. The Nomad, there is nothing wrong with this. I think the reason he thought it didn't work is because it doesn't have a battery pack. And I was like, well, I turn it on and, well, nothing happens. Must be broken. It's like, do a little bit of research. Now, the Game Gear, this actually doesn't work. It's unfortunate. I mean, it kind of works. I know what's wrong with it. It needs new capacitors, but I can't do anything about that because I don't have soldering skills. So this is the one casualty of this box. The Genesis, I have no idea why he assumed this didn't work. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it, except that its little plastic piece is disconnected, the one that would connect to a Sega CD. But fortunately, it had Sega CDs, so that's not a problem either. Again, why he thought these didn't work, I don't know. It's probably because whoever the guy was that I bought this from, because I bought this online, the guy must have just assumed that these things didn't require their own power supply, that the Genesis would fuel it, and when he was getting no reaction from a Sega CD, then he must have assumed, well, okay, they don't work. But then again, he couldn't have been using this Genesis, because this Genesis works just fine. I don't know why he would have assumed, I don't know. But again, both Sega CDs totally work, just need power. The Saturn, that one I could see, that one was kind of a bitch. But, you know, a little bit of a thumb tinkering. God, I'm not funny anymore. Thumb tinkering, yeah, now it works. So I got all of this stuff for $40, and all of it works except for the Game Gear. I'm not really sure what I'll do with the Game Gear yet. I'll probably find either someone to fix it, or I'll give it away, or I don't know what I'll do. I won't throw it out, of course. I'd probably keep it for spare parts if I ever need like an extra case or something. I mean, the board works. It just needs, you know, a better screen and capacitors for the sound. Who knows what I'll do with that. I'll have extra buttons if I need be. I don't know. I was assuming the reason I got all this in the first place, in case anybody's wondering, is the stuff was, like I said, it was cheap, and I didn't want it to get thrown out, and, you know, I could always get spare parts. But I swear I had no reason to think that all this stuff was going to work, you know, except for that. But I'm really happy about that. I really wish I could find, like, a same deal with, like, Atari stuff, you know, or Nintendo stuff. I have so much Sega-related stuff I actually don't really need anymore. But I don't have as much, you know, nearly as much like Nintendo-based stuff. So, I don't know, maybe I'll look into trading some of it or something. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you found this video even remotely interesting. If not, it's alright, I understand. It's not everybody's thing. But yeah, thanks for watching if you did.